Welcome back to the Taking Funnel Hacking by Storm podcast. This is where you're going to learn how 97 entrepreneurs just like you each created their own seven-figure business and how you are just one funnel away from your own seven-figure success story. Today, we're going to be talking about becoming a meaningful specific. The late great Zig Ziglar said, you can't be a wandering generality, you have to become a meaningful specific. This is so important when we are trying to dial in to figure out how we're going to grow and scale our companies, that it all starts with coming back to the fundamentals, to figuring out who we are and how we're going to carve out our place in this ecosystem. So there are basically three core markets in any business, and you can delve into this a little bit deeper to see where you think you fit. But basically, you're either going to fall into health, wealth, or relationships. And those are very, very general and very, very broad topics, right? So you may be thinking about your business and you're not quite sure exactly where you fit in. But the thing is what I want you to ask yourself is, what does my product or service do? What is the end result? What does it actually give my customer? And it's either going to fall into one of those three categories, either health, wealth, or relationships. So the first thing to do is determine which one of those three is your core market. Okay, well, that's not enough just to open up a business. You can't just open up a business and say, okay, well, I'm in the wealth market and I'm going to offer everything that has to do with wealth. In order to become a meaningful specific, we need to master something and we need to be able to come forward with that very specific thing into the marketplace so people know exactly who we are. So the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to determine what our submarket is. Well, what's a submarket? Well, let me give two examples here to help you piece this together. So the first example would be in the wealth core market. Okay. Now my submarket might be in real estate. Okay. It's not in the stock market. That would be a different submarket. Mine is going to be specific to real estate. So now my core market is wealth. My submarket is real estate. Let's give another example here. Let's say that my core market is I'm in the health market. Okay. Well, what about the health market? Am I into, do I sell supplements or do I own a gym, right? Where am I in that submarket? So in this example, because I'm a lifelong martial artist, I'm going to use the submarket of martial arts. Okay. It's not tennis. It's not golf. It's not vitamins within the health market. It's specific to martial arts. All right. So now that we have our core market determined and now we know what our submarket is, that's all well and good. But now what is going to separate me from everybody else, right? Because either in real estate or in martial arts, that's still a red ocean. There are a lot of other people that are still in those same markets. So now what I have to do is I have to figure out what my niche is, right? I need to really narrow the focus down so I become very, very different and people can define exactly who I am to come to me to solve a specific problem. So let's go back to those two examples. My core market was wealth. My submarket was real estate, and now my niche might be flipping residential real estate for fun and profit, okay? So that's very different. I was heavily involved in real estate investing. That was a passion of mine, and there were a lot of different ways that I could go, but the one that I decided to master was flipping, okay? And specific to flipping residential real estate, not commercial real estate, right? Donald Trump, for example, was his niche, if you will, in New York City was renovating commercial real estate, right? Hotels, apartment buildings, things like that. So that was very specific to him. Mine was in residential real estate flipping. The other example was health, right? So health was the core market. The submarket was martial arts. And then the niche is or could be jiu-jitsu, for example, right? Because jiu-jitsu is a very, very different art than karate is, right? So if I had a competitor in town and my competitor taught karate, that's great. I wouldn't have any issues with that person because if I'm teaching jiu-jitsu, it's a completely different art, right? Karate is more of a striking art and jiu-jitsu is more of a grappling art, and both of those things can coexist in the same place without much overlap, okay? Now, from that point, I could even narrow it down much further, right? I could decide whether I want to teach jiu-jitsu as a sport because there is that option, or I could teach jiu-jitsu as a self-defense system and focus solely on that. So then I could have like a sub niche from there. And it's very important that the more defined you get it, right, the more of a meaningful specific you'll be, and the easier it will be for people to find you. Okay, so very simple. Your walkaway assignment is this. Your walkaway assignment is to go through and identify your core market, your sub market, and then your specific niche, because you need to know who you are. You need to turn from a wandering generality into a meaningful specific, because that is what everything else is built on. So good luck, go get it, and we'll see you tomorrow.